Hi, my name is Bozena Hrycyna, and I'm going to be showing you how to make pysanky today. That is the traditional Ukrainian Easter eggs, also made by many other cultures, but this tradition is very well known from Ukrainian culture, and it's a big part of Ukrainian Canadian identity, and we love making them. So I'm going to share how to make these with you today for the Capital Ukrainian Festival in Ottawa. So we're shooting, since we're online in the summertime, usually people make pysanky in the late winter, early spring, Lenten period before Easter in preparation for Easter coming as a prayer, as a meditation practice. So it is a very personal practice, and I encourage you to start in a good, calm space, in a quiet space for making pysanky. So pysanky is plural. So one is pysanka, and the word comes from pisate, which means to write. We're going to be writing designs on the egg. We're not painting them. We're actually going to write with a tool and hot wax, and then dye with dyes rather than paints. So we start with a clean egg, and any egg can do. I'm using a brown chicken egg today, which is from our farm, from our chickens. Light brown egg will show the colors nicely, or you could use a white egg, which you might find in the store. And you want to wash it or rinse it just to make sure it's clean. Sometimes we use vinegar. This one is an extra strength vinegar. Just a drop will do, just in some lukewarm water. You want the egg to be room temperature so that the hot wax sticks to the eggshell and doesn't peel off. If the egg is cold, straight from the refrigerator, you'll need to keep it out in a bowl of warm water or just keep it out overnight to bring it to room temperature. So I'm patting the egg dry, just gently. You don't need to really rub. You could use a paper towel or a cloth, and make sure that it's fully dry before you start. This is an introductory workshop, so I'm just going to show you basic steps of how to get the designs and the different colors on your egg. And if you want to go further and learn a lot more, there's just a lot more you can learn and delve deeper into the craft. So our egg is dry now, and it's ready to go. I've thought of a design. Actually, I really haven't, but usually it's fine. Just play it by ear. Just do a traditional design that comes out spontaneously. I've been doing this for many years, so I usually just let my intuition guide me. But you might want to plan your design in advance so you have a better idea of what you're doing. There are many, many traditional designs you could choose from. A book, or there's lots of different pamphlets with different designs. Some even have step-by-step instructions of how to do this. You might find this online, or you could purchase one of these from a shop through the internet or through a church. And that might give you some ideas. You can see that a lot of the pysanky that I've made have a geometric design. That is just a common feature of pysanky from the western region of Ukraine, which is where my family's from and where many pysanky artists that I've learned from hail from. So they tend towards making geometric ones, and I just really like the sacred geometry. But you can go freestyle, you can do anything you like. So now I'm going to show you step by step how we will apply the design onto the egg with the beeswax and our tools. In Ukrainian, we call this a kistka. You might call it a stylus. There are different kinds. Very similar concept. It's just a funnel that we're going to place beeswax into and heat up so that it flows like ink out of our tip of our tool. So this is called, in East Asia, it's called batik, when they do this onto fabric. So it's a batik method. And to light the candle so that we can heat up the tool. And I use pure beeswax candles. You have to use pure beeswax for the lines, so we might as well also use a beeswax candle. So you can breathe easier, and you can also use the drippings from the candle. So first I'm going to heat up the stylus in the top of the flame where it's the hottest. That's fine if it turns black. It's just the carbon. And you can see I've made some lines on this piece of paper with my tool because it already actually was filled with beeswax, but I can show you how to fill it. You want to scoop with the sharp edge of the top of the funnel into your chunk of beeswax and fill it up. Because I already heated my stylus, that's going to go very effortlessly and really nicely. You don't want to be forcing it. You'll bend or ruin your very delicate metal piece. So heat your stylus first before you do that. And this is just a huge chunk of beeswax that I've used over the years. So it turned black from a lot of use, but it's just a regular piece of golden beeswax. And I am just testing out the flow to make sure that it's coming out. Sometimes it might not come out just how you want it, and you just need to try again or unclog it or play around with it. So mine's working really well. I actually love, this is my go-to tool. It works really well every time for me. So I'm just drawing lines, and I'm getting these lines by having complete contact with the tip of my tool on the surface. If you're on an angle, it's not going to flow out. It needs to be perpendicular in contact with the surface. So when it comes to the egg, which is round, you have to kind of adjust your hand so that it is always in contact. So we're ready to draw the lines. The basic concept is that we are drawing lines on the surface of the eggshell to cover whatever color is on the egg, which will keep it protected from the dye bath. So if I want lines to be this color, I'm going to draw and cover them with wax, and the whole egg will be dyed with the dye that I put it in, except for where I put the lines with the wax. That's how batik works. So you'll see if you don't quite get it yet. You'll just learn it through practice. So I'm going to just do a very simple division line of my egg. I'm right-handed, so I hold my egg with my left hand and I hold both ends securely so that I can reach most of the surface of the egg. I rest my hand a little bit and I start at one end and I slowly rotate. So there we have a division line. I could also divide it again to have 4 sections on the egg. And I'm doing it lengthwise. That's what I prefer and that's what I find easier to do. But of course you can make lines going around the middle of the egg. Okay, so I've finished my 4 dividing lines, or 2 that go all the way around. So I have 4 sections, and these lines are going to preserve this light brown natural color of the eggshell underneath them as I dye it in the first dye, in the first color, which is going to be gold. So I'm going to dip this egg in the gold. So as you can see, it doesn't take very long for the dye to stick. It's not paint, it doesn't need to dry. It just needs to adhere to the shell. And you pat it dry gently, not rubbing, so we don't rub any of the dye or scratch the eggshell. Just make sure that we absorb the droplets as best we can. And we're good to go. There might still be a little bit of residue and that'll get on your fingers, but that's fine. As you can see, it's not a crazy messy process. I'm confident in wearing white today. Now I have the complete egg covered with the gold color. I'm going to draw some designs that I want to be gold in my pattern on my Pysanky with the hot wax with my stylus, And once I've drawn those designs that I want gold, I'll put it in my next color, which is going to be red. So I'm going to heat the kistka up again because it does cool pretty quickly, and make sure there's enough wax in there. Quickly just test it out. It's perfect. So now I have an idea to draw some classic stalks of wheat. Okay, so now I've finished drawing the wheat stalks or the grain stalks that I want to be gold in my pattern, and I'm going to think about something red that I want in the other section, and I'm going to put this in the red dye. I actually have one that's called wine. It's a bit darker red, and I'm going to put the whole egg to turn all red, and what's under this wax is what stays gold. So I'm tipping the jar so that I can get more of the dye closer to the egg without dropping the egg straight into the dye. Just swish it around. You could just leave it for a few minutes. And I have a plastic spoon, which is kind of good since we do put a bit of vinegar in each dye. If you leave a spoon in, it might corrode a little bit, but with the plastic it doesn't. These are pretty much instant dyes. They don't take very long to set. If I had gone from gold to orange and then red, I would get a deeper red because I'll be layering and getting more saturation, but I've just skipped that step, so I won't actually get such a dark red or such a dark wine color, but it's pretty red. Gently pat the egg, not rub it. And as you can see, I reuse my paper towels. They dry after, so you can reuse them. They're obviously very permanent dyes, so they won't wash out if you use a cloth. That's why a lot of people use paper towel. So now I've got my whole egg with this wine color. So I'm going to draw on the wine colored eggshell to have some more of my design in red, and then I'll do my last color as black. I'm just going to scoop a bit more to my kistka. Heat it up quickly and draw a star rhombus. Okay, so I've drawn an 8-pointed star on the wine color, on the red, and done some dots, some circles around. So that is all going to remain wine or red underneath. And now I'm going to dye the whole egg black as my final color, just to show you what it would look like. If I had done this design on the whole egg, that would be my complete pysanka, but since it's just a demo, I'm just showing you what that would look like. And black will be my final color. Black is always the final color. It is so dark you can't dye anything on top of it. So that's what I'm going to do as my final base background color, and I like black for the background because it makes the other colors pop, makes it visible and outlines everything. Okay, so now that I've taken my pysanka or my egg out of the final color, I want to reveal the pysanka underneath by taking off all the wax. I have a full egg and I've been working with the full raw egg. That's something I didn't mention, but sometimes I do empty mine at the very end before I take the wax off. In this introductory workshop, I'm not going to do that, but if you want to, you could probably figure out how to do that pretty easily just by playing around by making 2 holes and breaking up the egg and blowing it out, or watching some videos online about that as well. I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to leave it intact, which is fine, and it'll dry up eventually. So now I want to melt the wax lines off my egg, and I'm going to hold the egg actually sideways, perpendicular to the flame with the 2 ends so that my fingers aren't anywhere close to the flame, so that I don't burn or get them too hot so that I would want to drop the egg. So this way I have a lot of control. I can rotate the egg pretty freely, and I want to keep it close to, very, very close to the flame, actually almost in it, but in the middle, not the hottest part. If I were to put this at the tip of the flame, I might burn my egg and I would scorch the eggshell, and there's nothing you can do to take off the scorched black spot. So it's very important not to burn your eggshell in the very last step as you're taking the wax off. So we just hold it near the middle, which is a cooler part of the flame. And you see it glistening? As soon as it starts to glisten and starts to sort of drip, you have to be ready to wipe right away. If you wait too long, it'll just cool again and you won't be able to easily wipe the wax off. So the beeswax melts pretty well, and you can even heat a bit more area. Rotate it all around. Bigger area will stay warm, and you can wipe it all at once. So there you see the red part of the design being revealed. Another way you can take the wax off in an easy manner is to put the egg actually in the oven on a very low setting on a tray, or to empty it first and set it on a rack on your wood stove on a trivet, if you have a wood stove, which I do. So it makes it kind of easy. I do a bunch at once, but I usually empty them. I haven't experimented with doing it with a full egg, though it might work as well. Okay, so this is our final pysanka design. It was a simple one for the demo today. We have our baseline color of the eggshell white, light brown, and then yellow or gold, and red wine color. And that's our final design. We can't add any more. Once we've taken all the wax off and done the whole process, if we decide to add something, we can't go back and dip it into any dye. Sometimes people ask about that. So you have to make peace with what you've made, and you get to try and make more if you want to try other designs. The beauty of it is that it's very easy. All you need is beeswax, a kistka stylus, and a candle. The dyes you can purchase, or you could make your own dyes at home from natural materials in the kitchen, like onion skins or cabbage or turmeric. These pysanky here were actually all made using natural dyes, things that are around the house, like red cabbage, saffron, red onion skins, and yellow onion skins. So you can actually get quite an amazing array of colors from using plants and spices. And then you can get some of these richer, darker, saturated colors with aniline dyes, which are all these powdered chemicals, which you dilute with water. And you'll have the instructions when you order the dyes. You could order pysanka supplies from several different places online. In Canada, you could order from Kuta Uma in Toronto, or there's actually a folk shop online, folkshop.ca, that is organized by a folk camp. So you can order supplies through them. Today we've just done a little tiny bit of pysanka making just to give you an introduction, overall picture of what it looks like. There is a lot more you could delve into, and there's a lot deeper that you can go with this craft. and there's a lot more meaning and symbolism that you can explore. So I encourage you to do that. There's lots of great books out there. There's lots of great online resources. It's just the beginning, so I hope that it gets you making pysanky and just trying it out, and enjoy your first pysanky.